So, okay, I'm going to preach a little bit before we pray here. As far as struggles, it says in the Bible that Jesus warns us that there will be trial and tribulation in this world that we live in. So we will face struggles, sometimes more so than others, which is, of course, sometimes not exactly always fair. But there will be struggles. So I'm not gonna necessarily pray that your struggling will go away, because no matter what, we're always going to struggle. Each and every one of us, no matter how hard we try, no matter how much we self-improve, or no matter how hard we work or whatever, there's always going to be an obstacle that comes. But I will say our reaction to that obstacle and our mindset and perspective to how we handle that obstacle is a very key factor in whether or not the struggle breaks us down or builds us up. This is something I've had to learn a lot recently, is that my perspective of the things that I'm going through is oftentimes my downfall, because I think so negatively sometimes. So it's not a matter of us not having struggles, it's not a matter of us not having problems, because we always will have problems. It's a matter of how we handle those problems. It's how we progress through the problems. You know, sometimes you have to get through it to get to it. You have to get through the limiting mindset and understand that you are capable of much more. Those who remain steadfast. So oftentimes we come up against an obstacle and we get very tired and weary, which is natural. All of us are going to get to an obstacle or a struggle or something that just exhausts us to the very core of who we are. I've been through it many times, especially last year. The whole entire last year, 2022, was very much a trial. The entire year. It was exhausting mentally, physically, and emotionally. It was very, it beat me down into the dirt. And I struggled, and I struggled, and I struggled. And sometimes we have to struggle and struggle and struggle to come to the realization that we're always going to struggle in some sort of way. But it's a matter of how we handle those struggles. It's how we choose to see the struggle. Are we seeing only the struggle, or are we trying to picture what comes out of this struggle? Like, why? Maybe not necessarily why I'm going through what I'm going through, but who will get me through what I'm going through, and how will I get through what I'm going through? Sometimes we get caught up in why. Those who remain steadfast, so remaining steadfast, remaining persistent, not giving up, not letting the struggle define you or who you are. Take a rest if you need to. And there are some points, like I said, I partially agree with sometimes we need to push forward. Sometimes we need to get up and go. Sometimes we need to make and take an action. But not 100% of the time is that true. There are moments in life where we need to slow down and analyze. We need to have a perspective of what we're going through. We can't just blindly continue to go through a path that we are continuously getting beat down by. We need to sometimes have a plan. And in order to have a plan, you have to stop and sit down and think and ponder and brainstorm. You can't just continuously. So I don't want to completely beat down what you said, because it is very motivational. That is very true. It's encouraging, but it's not realistic. It's very dangerous to have that sort of mindset where you think that you're never stoppable, like you're unstoppable, or you're invincible to the world if you just keep going and you never stop. By all means, don't ever give up. But if you get knocked down and you need to take a breather, don't stay down. Like, definitely never stay down. Never let life get you to the point where you don't ever get back up and try. But there are moments in our lives where we just need to, like, legit take a week just to rest, to sleep, to let our body calm down, to let our mind and spirit and our physical body just take a rest. God has given us a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. Although I do catch myself overthinking, I have to catch myself, and it's good to have an accountability partner, and fortunately I'm blessed with one that I can talk to. So it's, whether that's your husband, whether that's your spouse, whether that's a friend of yours, when you find yourself, or a therapist, like if you want to truly get to that, and I'm not saying you need to, I don't really think that I would ever want to go to therapy. That's just my personal opinion. I don't discourage anyone from ever doing that, because if that's what you truly think is going to help you, then by all means. But basically, just to kind of sum up the things that I was saying, I think, is that we have to sometimes take a step back, analyze our life, accept our life for the way that it is and what we are currently going through, change the things that can be changed, and let go and let God change the things that we can't ourselves by our own power change. And that's the hardest part, is some things in your life are they cannot be changed. Your prayer is great therapy. Facts. Prayer, non-stop prayer. That's why it says in scriptures to pray without ceasing. Do not stop praying. Even when you have no words left, just keep praying. And sometimes you might find out that you start praying in tongue. When you have no words left to say, but your spirit just cannot stop praying, we have control over our thoughts. And sometimes, and I even myself struggle with it sometimes, that I let my thoughts get too far down the rabbit hole, and then I find myself having an anxiety attack. So God definitely doesn't give us depression or anxiety. It's very much I don't even want to give Satan the credit, because he tempts us with it. He tempts us with these thoughts. Satan like dangles these things in front of our face and like, oh, you should think about this today. You should think about this, or look at this negative thing, or look at that negative thing. Look at that what if, or look at that struggle, or look at this. And he wants to dangle all this stuff in front of our face. So it's up to us. Not even Satan can take the credit for the thoughts that we think. Think about that. Encourage that thought. Not even the devil himself, who is a liar, a thief, a killer, has the ability to make us think anything. He wants us to think. He's going to encourage us and discourage us and try, not even discourage, like sometimes and that's what I was saying, we have to take accountability for the thoughts that we think. And I'm speaking for myself mostly, because like I myself, I can't just sit here and choose to think about things that are not going to benefit me mentally. I can't think about all the things that happened in my past that I can't change, because one, I can't change them. What is it going to do, me sitting here thinking about all the mistakes that I've made? So I have to choose to move forward and think differently. We have the power that God has given us by birthright. It's our birthright. God has given us this spirit of power, love, and sound mind. So sometimes it's a matter of us coming to the realization that we have that power in us. We're not superhuman, but we have power that God has given our thoughts and given our heart and given our mind and given our spirit to allow us to change that perspective over our life. Last year was a very unhappy year for me, and I'm still kind of climbing out of some of those holes that I led myself down. But it's a matter of us taking the reins. And this kind of goes back to what Alessandro was saying, is that we have to not give up and keep pushing forward. Take a rest if you need to, analyze, and choose to have a different perspective over your life. Choose to look at your situation not as a way, not as negative, but understand that God, although is allowing you to go through what you're going through, He's essentially the cause of the good that is going to come from what you are going through. He's not the cause of what you're going through. Essentially, He is the cause of the good that comes from what you're going through. And oftentimes we have to come to that realization, is that God is with us even in this current situation, and we have to sometimes put it in retrospect and realize that it's similar to all the other things that God has gotten us through, and that He will get us through this time. Maybe not in the same manner or fashion that He did last time, but He will all the time, in one way or another, give us a breakthrough. And we just have to keep trusting and keep having faith in what He's capable of doing, and take a step and take an action, or take a step back. So sometimes, we can't remain stagnant for sure and just wallow in, and I'm not saying you're wallowing, but I'm just saying, like, in general, we can't let our situations and our struggles define us and make us get so caught up. Like, sometimes you just got to get up and make the choice, like, you know what, no, I'm not going to think about all this crap today. I'm not going to think about it. This situation around me is stressful, and it's annoying, it's frustrating. I can't change it, though. So it's like, I think it's in Luke. Those of you who worry, why do you worry? You can't change a single thing about your life. You can't add a single second to your life by worrying. So it says right there, like we can't sit here and just overthink. It's very important that we make the purposeful choice to be purposeful, and that sometimes is a matter of waking up in the morning and choosing not to stress and to overthink about things that sometimes we can't change. We can't change every single little thing about our life. There are certain things that we can change about ourselves, and all of us are one choice away from living a completely different life. All of us are one thought away from having a completely different mindset. All of us are one prayer away from a different lifestyle. Like, legit. One choice, prayer, thought, whatever it is, all it takes is one. And it takes just taking a step forward. Man makes plans and God directs their steps. So we have to take a step. God can't direct a step if we're standing still. He can't direct us if we are if we're choosing to stay in the same mindsets that we've found ourselves in. And it's a matter of realizing that we have become stagnant and remained in that same mindset. That's where the revelation comes, is analyzing yourself, is the search my heart, search your own heart, and realize that, and I'm speaking for myself, like searching myself and realizing, you know what, I'm not really thinking positively. I'm not really having as much faith in God as I thought that I was. I'm not really thinking good thoughts. I'm not really entertaining positive things and faithful things. I'm not really taking faithful action in some of the things in my life. And we have to remain accountable for ourselves and not beat ourselves down like, oh, dang it, I should have done that. Like, I'm so stupid. But realize that we are human. You know, we have emotions. We sometimes make mistakes. Sometimes it's all the time. Sometimes we make more mistakes than we want to. But it's a matter of just keep moving forward. Just don't let the situation itself, don't let it strangle you, you know? Strangle it. Take control over it. Take control over your thoughts. Take control over your life. Take control over your actions and the way that you speak and the way that you react and the way that you act and the way that you think, just everything. Take back control over it, you know? But we have, like I said, one thing, one action. That's all it takes, is one, just to be in a completely different space. I hope that helped anybody that needed to hear that. I mean, I kind of needed myself. I needed a little reminder about that too, because lately I've been really kind of beating myself up about my financial situation. You know, I've been really finding myself, you know, beating myself up because of mistakes that I've already made that I can't change. So sometimes we need that reminder that it's not over. It's like we might be struggling and going through it. We might be standing at the gates of hell right now and just pushing through the fire, but God is going to reach down and help us, and He's not going to allow us to suffer forever. Every storm runs out of rain. It can't last forever. I don't know how long it's going to last. I wish I was a prophet and I could tell you that, you know what, your struggle's end date is February 2nd at 12 p.m. I wish I could say that, but I can't. We just have to trust in God's timing and understand that it will end at some point. It will change. It will be better. But like it says in James, remain steadfast. Blessed are those who remain steadfast under trial.